Hello everyone and welcome back to my subscribers. If you're not already a subscriber, I'll put a link here for you. In this video I'm going to show you a magazine modification for the Colt Gold Cup 1911-22 pistol. If you haven't seen my review video on this gun, I'll put a link to it here if you want to check it out. I've also done another video on a magazine modification, which is basically a base pad to give a little bit more distance or a little bit more length to the factory base pad here, as well as replace the plastic with aluminum. And what that means is when you seat the gun in here, the factory base pad sits pretty flush with the gun itself. The base pad that I came up with in that video is an aluminum base pad. It's a little bit thicker here, so it's actually going to protrude a little bit more outside the handle of the gun. Looks a little nicer, it makes it a little bit easier to seat the magazine. But in this video I'm going to show you a magazine modification, actually two magazine modifications, so you get your choice. What you're going to do is you're going to take your magazine apart, and these magazines, by the way, are going to be either a 12 or a 10 round capacity depending on where you're at, but all that's going to go out the door once you do this. So you dismantle your magazine to where you just come up with the tube itself. The first modification is going to involve a follower, a spring, and a retainer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our magazine tube, we're going to insert the follower, insert the spring, and then I only have one base pad here. So we're going to pop this sucker off. I'm going to press down here and take our factory base pad off. Here's the factory spring retainer on this. So we'll set that off to the side, get it out of the way. So now we're going to take, remember, our follower spring, the new retainer, we're going to slip it in there, and it's got pins on two sides and one on the other side. Put that in there and hold it with my thumb. Then I'm going to take the factory base pad and I'm going to slide that on here. And if it doesn't go on in one direction, it goes on the other. So I got this one correct. So there's our retainer sticking through. Now what this does is it gives extra space by getting rid of that factory follower and spring. So now with this modification that you see here, and I'll put links to all this stuff in the video description below and here if you want, this will give you 16 rounds in the magazine. However, you will lose the ability to slide lock on last shot fired with the gun. So basically when your magazine's empty, the slide's going to be closed altogether. So 16 rounds versus 12 in that, so it's kind of, you know, you're going to have to decide if that's what you want. To me, that's not a big problem. Now the other magazine modification is, if you want that base pad, we'll take the factory off. We don't need, the other modification is going to include not the retainer, but these two items right here and another base pad, an aluminum base pad with a cavity in the bottom. So now you're going to get that extra distance when you're seating the magazine in the gun, and you're going to get the added capacity. So just like we did before, we're going to remove everything from the magazine tube, insert our follower, insert our spring, take the new base pad, compress the spring, slide the base pad on. Now our spring is kind of half in there, almost said a bad word there. So we're going to pull up our spring right here with my wrench and pop it into place. So now it's basically fallen into the cavity the spring has. In the bottom here, just like on the GSG stuff, there's going to be a screw. So we're going to take that screw and we're going to tighten it down just kind of finger tight, and you'll see that it engages the magazine tube right there. So that's going to keep our magazine base pad on. So now we've got a new follower, new spring, and a new aluminum base pad. We've got that little protrusion down there on the end, on the bottom. Makes it easier to seat the magazine, especially if you have a magazine well on there. But with this one here, you're going to get 17 rounds in the mag and one in the gun. So that's a total of 18 rounds. Once again, you're still not going to have the ability to do slide lock on last shot fired with this modification either. But you got to decide if that's a trade-off for you that you're willing to live with. To me, I am. Well anyways, I'll put links to all this stuff down in the video description below and here. So be sure and share and like the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Thanks for watching.